Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me? Well, that was a weird weekend, wasn't it? I'll be honest, I saw very little of the Queen's funeral. I find it quite hard to get caught up in the funeral of somebody I've never met when I'm in the midst of planning the funeral for the man that raised me. But that being said, that lone piper walking away is an image that will stay with me for some time. And from all I've heard from other members of the family, it really was quite an event. Unfortunately, we return after a long weekend to mark one notable passing, with a show that marks two demolition deaths that have barely made it into the public consciousness, and that remain unexplained. A staggering 3 years later. So, without further ado, let me roll the intro, get the show on the road. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll post a question of the day as well, and I'll get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It is Tuesday, the 20th of September, and as that remarkably persistent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, the fatal demolition accident that no one is talking about. Caterpillar lowers the mast. Volvo sets out its carbon reduction mission. We're off to Indonesia to see some XCMG heavy iron in action, and we're taking a trip down memory lane to check out some awesome plant from a bygone era. Plus, we're going to be unveiling our new show sponsor, who aren't actually paying us a penny. We'll get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's very quickly, because there aren't that many, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! I could probably do these in one breath, actually. It's many happy returns to Italian actress Sophia Loren, to author George R.R. Martin, and to Swedish goal machine Henrik Larsson. Many happy returns to them, one and all. Later this week, I am due to speak to the BBC yet again about the Didcot power station disaster that happened in February 2016. Unlike many of their colleagues in the wider media, the BBC thankfully hasn't forgotten the incident that claimed the lives of 4 demolition men on that fateful day. We are fast approaching the 7th anniversary of that fateful day now. The investigation remains ongoing, which must be absolutely agonising for the families of Mick Collins, Ken Cresswell, Christopher Huxtable and John Shaw. But it is perhaps equally agonising for the families of John Mackay and Tommy Williams, the 2 men killed in a separate demolition accident at the Teesworks facility in Redcar in truly horrific circumstances exactly 3 years ago today. They too have received no answers and no explanation of what happened that day to their loved ones. And there is now a very real concern that the protracted Didcot investigation has somehow set a precedent for overlong fatal accident investigations. 3 years on, and it's understood that the police are still taking statements over the Redcar incident. 3 years. Now, this is an accident that occurred long before the Teesworks demolition project was in full swing. Just how many people are there actually to interview? And if the Didcot investigation is a guide, the families of the 2 men that lost their loved ones, or lost their lives rather, at Redcar could have at least another 4 years to wait for some kind of conclusion. There's another concern here as well. Even though interest has declined in the near 7 years since it happened, Didcot has remained a key industry talking point. Thanks to the likes of the BBC, Didcot has remained in the public eye. Redcar has not. Instead, all the talk from Teesworks is of job creation, gigafactories and Freeport status. New jobs and new factories are terrific, and they will be very welcome in the northeast of England. But all of that is being created upon the unmarked graves of Tommy Williams and John Mackay. Each passing anniversary, each piece of positive news from Teesworks, and each new mention of the Didcot disaster must surely just prolong the agony and suffering of the families of Tommy Williams and John Mackay. 7 years is far too long to wait. 3 years is too long to wait for answers. Now, our thoughts are obviously with the families and friends of Tommy and John today. And in light of the fact that today marks the 3rd anniversary of the Redcar incident, it seems appropriate that today should also mark the debut of our brand new show sponsor. Well, I describe them as a sponsor, but they're not actually paying us, and nor should they. Our new show supporter, not sponsor, supporter, does some incredible work within this industry of ours. So we will now be featuring them daily, partly as a way of saying thank you, but also to remind you of all the important work that they do. Fantastic to have the Lighthouse Club on board. I'll tell you more about my relationship with the Lighthouse Club, maybe in the chat afterwards, but we'll get to that in the fullness of time. Now, as we've reported previously, Volvo Construction Equipment is at the very leading edge of the carbon reduction battle here in the plant industry. In addition to pioneering electric-powered machines and having taken the first step towards harnessing of hydrogen, the company also produced the world's first vehicle made from fossil-free steel. But the company is not done yet, not by a long shot. In fact, Volvo has just published its Carbon Reduction Manifesto.
Carbon reduction is a journey, made a little easier with our step-by-step program to guide you, tailor-made to suit your needs, with support from Volvo. You cannot make changes without first knowing where to start. Plan a smart CO2 reduction plan by using telematics data to determine your current CO2 footprint. This baseline is important. It allows you to see what you're doing right, identify areas for improvement, and to visualize progress over time. Now we dig deeper. We analyze areas like site layout, operator behavior, material flow, and fleet composition. We map out where improvements can be made and what action needs to be taken, all to reduce your CO2 per ton. Time to put our findings into action. We tailor the right solutions from our ever-growing list of services to meet your specific needs. Solutions like operator training help to refine skills and show how to get the most out of your equipment. The result? A noticeable increase in productivity and a drop in fuel consumption. See the big picture on your CO2 journey with services like Connected Map. Efficiency, safety and visibility are increased, while emissions, travel times and fuel consumption are reduced. Reach optimal payload on every machine with efficient load out. Using real-time data, it allows you to reduce truck passes, on-site traffic and CO2 emissions. A win for on-site productivity and a win for the environment. With any good habit, you'll need to keep it up to see the difference. We measure your CO2 over time so you can track the positive impact, economically and environmentally. We then help you stay on track, identifying new targets and making sure you maintain all the good work you've put in.
There may be another equipment manufacturer out there that's doing more to reduce the environmental impact of its machines, but I certainly can't think of one off the top of my head. Now, before we move on, I just want to say a very quick good morning, and there we are. Joe Vendetti. Joe is a demolition man from America, and I've spoken to Joe, interviewed him in the past. Really nice guy, certainly knows his stuff when it comes to power station decommissioning and dismantling and that kind of thing. But as everyone knows here about, when somebody comes onto the show for the first time, they get some welcome confetti. I can't actually remember if this is Joe's first time on this show. Certainly not his first time on these shows, but not on this show before. So Joe, welcome. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. It must be very early where you're watching from, unless you happen to be this side of the pond. But great to have you here, Joe. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Now, where were we? Yeah, I need to press a button. And I'm going to go for, let me see, that one.
The Miller GT series heralds a new era of unrivaled power and cutting-edge intelligent coupler technology, increasing job site safety, machine versatility, and productivity. It's the added versatility that you need at the value you can afford. To find out more, visit millergroundbreaking.com.
Now, we were just looking at the future of construction equipment. Now it's time to take a trip into its past. Now, if you were here last week, you'll know that our friend Peter Ferguson was heading off to the Vintage Excavator Trust working weekend, this very weekend. Well, Peter captured some absolutely terrific video footage from the event, and we've given it just a little bit of a twist. I just spotted Peter's comment here. More of a leg end than a legend. No, I think that was absolutely fantastic. There is actually more footage of that. I'm going to piece it together at some point in the next few days and stick it over on on our YouTube channel. Great place, Threlkeld. Only been the once, but hope to visit again one day. Last weekend, or this weekend just gone, would have been a fantastic time to do it. Had some very good comments in on that one, Peter. So thank you very much indeed for sharing that. It really was absolutely top notch. Hope you had a good time, my friend. If you were here last week, you will know that we were talking about cab clutter. Beautifully and ergonomically designed machine cabs that are then filled with third-party monitors and add-ons that obscure the vision of the operator. Well, that clutter is not always confined to the cab. GPS systems often mean the addition of third-party masts, sensors and cables that can also obscure the operator's vision every bit as much. Well, apparently, Caterpillar's not having that. I think you'll agree that's a much tidier solution. Well, as Peter Haddock has just said, these integrated sensors are now much more common and a good idea, as long as they work with all the systems on the market, and thereby lies the issue. I think the same with these guidance systems as we've had in the past with things like quick couplers. It's all very well having them, but they need to speak to each other. So thank you very much indeed for that, Peter. Now, back to this one. Right, just before we call it a day today, we're off to Indonesia, of all places, to see how an open pit mine has been equipped with a couple of new machines from the XCMG stable. And that should pretty much do us for today.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends and your colleagues. Have a great day and thanks for watching. But if you have the time and the inclination, I'll see you on the other side of this.